The data just changed. Not the models. The data. And there's a difference you need to understand because it could mean the difference between being prepared and being caught off guard. Models show you weather. Data shows you patterns. Models change every 6 hours. Data reveals what's actually happening in the atmosphere. And right now, the data is showing something that hasn't been this clear all season, a deep trough. Crashing into the south-central United States, bringing temperatures 20 to 30 degrees below average. And when that happens while moisture is available, you get storms, big storms, winter storms that reach areas that almost never see them. At the 8-minute mark, I'm explaining exactly what the East Pacific Oscillation is and why it matters more than any individual model run. At the 15-minute mark, I'm breaking down the two-wave pattern that could bring multiple opportunities for southern snow. And if you comment your city and state right now, you're helping me understand who needs this information most. December 31st, 2025. New Year's Eve. And the atmospheric setup for mid to late January is becoming clearer with each passing day. Let me start with what's happening right now, because you need context before we talk about what's coming. Today and tomorrow, a clipper system is moving through the Midwest and Ohio Valley. This brings light snow, 1 to 3 inches for most areas, nothing major. But lake effect zones off the Great Lakes are getting significant accumulation. Western New York, western Pennsylvania, upstate New York, another foot to 2 feet possible through Thursday. Snow squalls are the concern today. These are sudden bursts of heavy snow that create whiteout conditions with no warning. If you're traveling tonight for New Year's Eve celebrations, especially on major interstates, be aware that visibility could drop to 0 suddenly. Slow down, turn on hazards, have emergency supplies in your vehicle. The West Coast has active weather. Southern California faces a tornado threat today into tomorrow. It's a low threat, only 2%, but any January tornado possibility is worth noting. Northern California sees heavy rain and mountain snow Friday and Saturday. This is another in a series of atmospheric river events hitting California. But that's all short term. Next few days. What I want to focus on is what the atmospheric data is indicating for the 2nd and 3rd weeks of January. Right now, we're in a blocking pattern. This means high pressure is positioned over Greenland and the North Atlantic in a way that blocks normal weather flow. Instead of systems moving smoothly west to east, they get diverted. Cold air gets forced south. Weather patterns persist longer than normal. This blocking pattern keeps the Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and Northeast locked in cold through at least Monday, January 6th. Real cold. Highs in the teens and 20s. Overnight lows in single digits or below 0. Wind chills below 0, possibly -10 to -20 in some areas. But here's what matters. After Monday, the pattern transitions. And this is where it gets interesting. Around January 7th and 8th, temperatures moderate across much of the country. The blocking weakens. Cold air retreats north. Above average temperatures develop. People think winter's easing up. But that's not what's actually happening. That warm-up is the setup. You're pulling back the rubber band before it snaps forward. Because after that brief moderation, the jet stream dips. Deeply. All the way into Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Tennessee, and when the jet stream dips that deep, it pulls Arctic air with it, air that's 20 to 30 degrees below average, air that brings freezing temperatures to places that don't normally see them. At the same time, the southern jet stream activates. This is the subtropical jet that runs across Mexico and the southern United States. When it activates, it brings Gulf of Mexico moisture northward, warm, moist air pushing north, Arctic air from the north, Gulf moisture from the south. Where they collide, you get weather. Potentially significant winter weather. Now, I promised at the 8-minute mark I'd explain what the East Pacific Oscillation is. We're past that, so let me deliver. The East Pacific Oscillation, or EPO, measures the strength and position of the jet stream over the eastern Pacific Ocean. When the EPO is positive, the jet stream is fairly flat. Weather systems move along without huge dips or ridges. Winter weather stays mostly in Canada and the northern United States. When the EPO is negative, the jet stream amplifies. Big dips and big ridges. Deep troughs that bring cold air far south. High ridges that push warm air far north. Negative EPO creates the pattern for widespread winter weather reaching well into the southern United States. The data shows the EPO going strongly negative after January 5th through 7th. Not just slightly negative, deeply negative. Values that support the jet stream dipping all the way into the deep south. And here's what makes this particularly interesting. The data suggests this could happen in two waves. One deep trough around January 8th through 12th, a brief moderation, then another deep trough around January 15th through 20th. Two separate opportunities for significant winter weather across areas that don't normally see it. Not just one storm. Multiple storm chances over nearly 2 weeks. The first wave appears to favor the south-central states, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Tennessee, Kentucky. The jet stream dips deepest over this region. Cold air crashes south. Moisture from the Gulf tracks north. The battleground is right over these states. The second wave could shift slightly east, still affecting Tennessee and Kentucky, but also bringing the Carolinas, Virginia, Georgia, and Alabama into play. This wave might not dip quite as deep, but it's positioned further east, which puts different areas in the impact zone. Now, here's the critical thing to understand. I'm showing you what atmospheric data indicates. Data is different from models. Models are computer simulations. They try to predict specific weather outcomes days and weeks in advance. They're excellent for short-range forecasting. 3 to 5 days out, models are very reliable. But in the long range, beyond 7 days, models change constantly. What shows today might not show tomorrow. Data is actual atmospheric measurements and indices. EPO values, temperature patterns, jet stream configurations. Data doesn't predict specific storms. Data shows the overall pattern setup that either favors or doesn't favor certain types of weather. Right now, 3 weeks out from the time frame we're discussing, the data is showing a strong signal. The models are starting to catch up to what the data has been indicating. Some model runs are showing deep troughs. Some are showing temperature anomalies of -20 to -30 degrees below average across the south-central states. Some are even depicting snowfall. But models this far out will continue changing. Specific storm positions will shift, timing will adjust, details will evolve. That's normal and expected. What's less likely to change is the overall pattern, deep trough over the south-central and southeast during mid to late January. Significant cold air. Active storm track. That pattern is supported by data that's more stable than individual model runs. So, when I show you this forecast, I'm not telling you Oklahoma City gets 8 inches of snow on January 12th at 3 p.m. I'm telling you, the atmospheric pattern from January 8th through 20th supports multiple opportunities for winter weather across the south, central, and southeast, and specific details will become clear as we get closer. That's honest forecasting. Not overpromising. Not sensationalizing. Showing you what the data indicates, and being clear about what we know and what we don't know yet. Now, let me break down the timeline so you understand what to expect and when to start paying close attention. January 1st through 7th, cold continues for the east. Great Lakes see ongoing lake effect snow. Clipper systems bring light snow to the Midwest and Northeast periodically. The South stays cold and dry. Nothing changes yet. This week is about enduring the cold and preparing for what's potentially coming. January 7th and 8th, transition begins. The blocking pattern weakens. Temperatures moderate across much of the country. The jet stream starts repositioning. This is the calm period before the pattern shift. January 8th through 14th. First wave of the deep trough pattern. Cold air crashes into the south-central states. Moisture from the Gulf tracks north. Where they meet, winter weather is possible. Potential impact zone: Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma, Arkansas, northern Louisiana, Tennessee, Kentucky, southern Missouri, possibly extending into northern Mississippi and northern Alabama. Type of precipitation depends on exact temperature profiles. If it's cold enough, snow. If it's marginal, ice or freezing rain. If it's too warm in places, rain. Those details won't be clear until we're inside 5 to 7 days. January 15th through 21st. Second wave possible. Deep trough shifts position, likely slightly east. Could bring winter weather to areas that missed the first wave or give areas that saw the first wave another opportunity. Potential impact zone: Tennessee, Kentucky, Carolinas, Virginia, Georgia, Alabama, possibly extending into southern West Virginia and western North Carolina mountains. Again, potential. Not guaranteed. The pattern supports it. Models will provide specific details as we get closer. January 22nd through end of month. Pattern could continue supporting active weather. Too far out for any specifics, but the overall setup suggests January remains unsettled through month's end. Now, I want to talk specifically to those watching from the south who have been disappointed repeatedly this winter. You've been cold since Thanksgiving. Temperatures below normal. But no snow, no ice. Nothing but cold, dry weather while you watch winter storms hit areas to your north. You've probably seen forecasts earlier this winter suggesting snow potential that never happened. You've built up hope only to be let down. So when I show you this forecast, your first thought might be, I've heard this before. Why should I believe it this time? That's a fair question. Let me answer it directly. Earlier in the winter, we had hints of patterns that could have supported southern winter weather. But those patterns were weak. They developed partially, and then broke down. The atmospheric signals were marginal. You saw it in forecasts because forecasters were showing you the potential. But the potential never fully materialized because the pattern wasn't strong enough. This is different. The atmospheric data supporting this mid to late January pattern is stronger than anything we've seen all season. The EPO values are more extreme. The temperature contrasts are more dramatic. The jetstream amplification is more pronounced. Does that guarantee specific outcomes? No. Weather is probabilistic, but the probability of the South seeing significant winter weather during this time frame is higher than it's been all winter. You can choose to be skeptical. That's reasonable given past disappointments. But what I'm asking you to do is prepare. Because if this pattern does verify, and you're not ready, you're in trouble. Southern infrastructure isn't built for winter weather. You don't have fleets of snowplows. Salt supplies are limited. Roads aren't designed with winter in mind. 2 inches of snow in Dallas creates problems that 10 inches in Chicago doesn't. So let me walk through practical preparation. First, your home. Check your pipes. Many southern homes have pipes in exterior walls or unheated crawl spaces because freezing isn't normally a concern. But when temperatures drop into the teens for days, pipes freeze. Frozen pipes burst. Burst pipes flood homes. Wrap exposed pipes now. Know where your main water shutoff valve is. During the coldest periods, let faucets drip slightly, and open cabinet doors under sinks. Check your heating system. Does it work properly? When was it last serviced? Do you have backup heat if power goes out? Fireplace and firewood? Generator that's properly maintained and safely positioned? Space heaters that aren't fire hazards? Stock supplies. 3 to 5 days of food that doesn't require cooking in case you lose power. Water, including filling your bathtub if severe weather is imminent. Medications refilled. Batteries. Flashlights. Battery-powered radio. Don't wait until a storm is forecast. Buy supplies gradually over the next week. Second, your vehicle. Emergency kit is essential. Heavy blanket or sleeping bag. Food and water for 24 hours. Flashlight with extra batteries. First aid kit. Fully charged portable phone charger. Small shovel. Sand or kitty litter for traction. These items could save your life if you're stranded. Make sure your tires are properly inflated. Cold weather reduces tire pressure. Check them weekly. Consider keeping your gas tank at least half full throughout January so you're never in a position where you can't run your engine for heat if you get stuck. Third, knowledge. If you've never driven on ice or snow, you need to learn before you're in that situation. Ice and snow require completely different driving techniques than dry pavement. Speed must be reduced dramatically. Following distance must triple or more. Braking must be gentle and early. Bridges and overpasses freeze first. The honest truth is the safest decision during winter weather in the South is not to drive at all. Stay home if possible. But if you must drive, know what you're doing and be prepared for the worst. Fourth, community. Check on elderly neighbors. Many elderly people live alone and might not be aware of weather forecasts or might not be physically able to prepare properly. A 5-minute conversation could save a life. Share information with people who might not follow weather news closely. The more people in your community who are prepared, the better everyone fares when difficult weather hits. Now, let me talk about temperature anomalies because this is important for understanding the potential severity of what's coming. The data shows temperature anomalies of -20 to -30 degrees below average for parts of the south-central United States during the mid to late January timeframe. Let me explain what that means. If your average high temperature in mid-January is 50 degrees, and you're 30 degrees below average, your high is 20 degrees. If your average low is 30 degrees and you're 30 below average, your low is 0. For places like Dallas, Oklahoma City, Little Rock, Memphis, Nashville, these are temperatures you're not used to dealing with. Infrastructure isn't built for it. Homes aren't insulated for it. People don't have the clothing for it. Pipes freeze. Heating systems strain to keep up. Heating bills spike. Travel becomes dangerous not just from snow or ice but from the cold itself. If you break down in these temperatures without proper supplies, exposure becomes life-threatening quickly. But temperature is only half the equation. The other half is moisture. And when you have extreme cold meeting available moisture, you get winter precipitation. Potentially heavy winter precipitation. The zone where cold air from the north meets warm, moist air from the south is called the battleground. That's where the heaviest precipitation falls. In winter, that precipitation is snow, ice, or freezing rain depending on the exact temperature profile at different levels of the atmosphere. Freezing rain and ice storms are particularly dangerous for the south. Ice accumulates on power lines. Trees that aren't adapted to bearing ice weight break. Branches and trees fall on power lines. Power goes out. Utility crews get overwhelmed. Repairs take days. If ice is forecast for your area, prepare for extended power outages. Have ways to heat your home without electricity. Have ways to cook food without electricity. Have supplies that don't require refrigeration. Before I close, let me give you the bottom line summary. Current pattern through January 6th, cold locked in for the east. South stays cold and dry. Use this time to prepare. January 7th and 8th, transition period, temperatures moderate, pattern begins to shift. January 8th through 14th, first wave, deep trough over south-central states. Winter weather possible for Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Tennessee, Kentucky, extending possibly into Missouri, Mississippi, Alabama, January 15th through 21st. Second wave possible. Could shift east to favor Carolinas, Virginia, Georgia, Alabama, while still affecting Tennessee and Kentucky. Rest of January. Pattern could support continued unsettled weather. Details too far out. Key point. This is atmospheric pattern potential based on data. It's not specific storm forecasts. Models will provide details as we get closer. Check forecasts daily starting January 5th. Preparation. Start now. Don't wait for a storm to be forecast. Check pipes, heating, supplies, vehicle, knowledge. Be ready. Proverbs 27:12. The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Being prepared is prudent. Ignoring warnings because you've been disappointed before is simple. Don't let past disappointments prevent you from preparing for what could be coming. If you found this forecast valuable, I'd really appreciate it if you could click the like button. This information could help people in your area prepare for a significant pattern shift. Subscribe if you haven't. This pattern is developing over the next 2 weeks. Daily updates will be essential as details emerge. Share this with people who need to see it. Friends and family in the South who need to know what's potentially coming and need time to prepare. Comment your city and state. Let me know who's watching and waiting. The strongest winter weather signal of the entire season is developing. Whether it fully materializes or not, being prepared is never wasted effort. Prepare well, stay informed, and trust that whatever comes, you'll be ready for it. Happy New Year, stay safe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's update as we continue tracking this developing pattern.